all wars have defined enemies. In the 21st century, with the war on terror, the enemy is somewhere out there. But where? The region that now constitutes Pakistan occupies a unique place in history. Several invaders who came into the subcontinent moved through various passes. Alexander, the Huns and the Mughals, as did the British. This area maintains its ancient culture and provides glimpses of its history through the ravages of time. Once again, it assumes the center stage, but for different reasons. The terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001 have thrown the whole world into a new cauldron of crisis. The world has become a dangerous place. Suicide bombing has added a new dimension to the spate of terrorism and given them an enormous capability to transmit shock and awe across the globe. Peshawar, the capital of the northwest frontier province of Pakistan. The people of this land are a proud and a warrior race. From here, the world fought one of the greatest and defining battles of modern history, resulting in the withdrawal of the Soviet forces from Afghanistan and the eventual collapse of the Soviet Union, thereby ending the Cold War. US General Anthony Zinni is quoted in Tom Clancy's book Battle Ready. The Pakistanis had backed our efforts in Afghanistan during the Afghan rebellion against the Soviets. There were now a large number of refugees and a state of chaos on their western border as a result, and we had, in their view, dumped them.
Pakistan is probably the most unsung hero in the war against extremism.
Federally administered tribal areas, FATA, located in the northwestern part of Pakistan bordering Afghanistan, consists of 7 agencies, namely Bajor, Muhammad, Khyber, Orakzai, Kurram, North Waziristan and South Waziristan. The last 2 are most important from the point of view of the war on terror. This is a wilderness where its people are still living like wild olives. Just like an olive tree requires grafting to bear fruit, these people need to grow into the 21st century. North Waziristan. This treacherous terrain and the rugged mountains where Pakistan Army is engaged in one of the most challenging tasks in its history.
It is these tribal agencies where never has the army gone inside these tribal agencies. So therefore, we made political and military arrangements to first of all penetrate into all these agencies. Having done that, we took time to establish a network of intelligence. We realized that there are massive concentration of Al-Qaeda members in one of our agencies, and that was South Waziristan Agency. Therefore, we decided to launch an army operation. In this process, by the way, may I say that Pakistan Army suffered about 250 casualties. We paid in blood for all these operations against Al-Qaeda and all these terrorists. We have dislodged the Al-Qaeda from about 5 valleys of South Waziristan. These were the valleys where they had their sanctuaries. These sanctuaries were their logistic bases, their propaganda bases. They had made tunnels where they had put exchanges through which they used to exercise their command and control. In one place we got truckloads of electronic equipment, televisions, computers, discs, tapes, etc., which was probably used for their propaganda machinery.
Pakistan's support was essential in our campaign against the Taliban. Thanks to the effective border security measures and law enforcement cooperation throughout the country, and thanks to the leadership of President Musharraf.
Before the arrival of Pakistan Army, these people had never seen the light of modernization. No schools, no electricity, or even roads, no proper means of livelihood or industry. For their survival, these fierce fighters have always been ready to fight for money and not for any particular ideology or cause. They fought against the British in the 19th century, then against the Russian forces in Afghanistan in the 20th century for 10 years. 2004, the most challenging yet accomplishing year since Pakistan joined the war on terror. The measures taken by Islamabad after September 11, 2001 were instrumental in hunting down Al-Qaeda. Long before Spain and Turkey were hit, and prior to the London bombings, Pakistan was the first to be targeted by terrorists. Across Pakistan, hundreds of innocent civilians were killed in massive acts of terror and remained subjected to drug trafficking and gun running for over 3 decades. Even President Musharraf escaped 2 assassination attempts. Prime Minister Shaukat Aziz and Corps Commander Karachi had also narrowly escaped attempts on their lives. The challenge before the armed forces was immense. The history of military campaigns in these regions does not provide a favorable picture. The mighty British Empire failed to subdue them, and even the mightier USSR disintegrated while subduing their brethren in Afghanistan. Despite this, Pakistan Army launched its campaign against terror in this area on all fronts: military, socio-economic and ideological. During operations in 2004, the army discovered terrorist hideouts and was surprised how well equipped and well trained the terrorists were. Sophisticated weapons were recovered from these sanctuaries. The terrorists mounted some of the deadliest attacks possible by an irregular force. They also coupled it with well-planned psychological operations and propaganda campaign by flooding the markets with thousands of CDs and literature aiming at convincing the Pakistani public that their government was somehow violating religious injunctions by fighting them. These cities also became an attraction for the media, thus indirectly helping Al-Qaeda in spreading their message across the globe. The arsenal for the terrorist is the youth of today. These teenagers have been indoctrinated by the extremists and are used as human weapons in suicide bombings.
Today, if you ask me that as to what's left of these foreign terrorists, I would say that not more than 100, and I put the figure to 70 to 80, and they are in small penny packets on the run. They are into hiding.
The region that now constitutes Pakistan occupies a unique place in history. Several invaders who came into the subcontinent moved through various passes. Alexander, the Huns and the Mughals, as did the British. This area maintains its ancient culture and provides glimpses. All wars have defined enemies. In the 21st century, with the war on terror, the enemy is somewhere out there. But where?